The Biden administration was promoting a radical group pushing critical race theory in schools, a group that advocates for teachers to, quote, disrupt whiteness and other forms of oppression. Well, Press Secretary Jen Psaki insisted yesterday that this was just a simple error. Take a listen.
So I'm quite impressed with your researchers for finding one of 1,000 citations. It was an error in a lengthy document to include this citation. The specific site does not represent the administration's view.
By the way, that thing has been up there for 5 months, so an error, not sure. Just another flip-flop from the Biden administration, but joining us now to break it all down, Turning Point USA contributor, lawyer, and Republican strategist Erin Elmore, and host of Stacey on the Right on Sirius XM. She's also the co-chair of Project 21. Thank you very much for joining us, Stacey and Erin. So let me start with you, Erin. This thing has been up here. This group has been up here. It's been part of this thing that's been sat on the White House website for 5 months, but now they say, oops, it was a mistake. Your thoughts?
They only admit this mistakes when they get caught. But I think the bigger problem here is we have a White House and we have a press secretary and we have an administration that feels completely comfortable lying to the American people. And it's terrifying to watch because we have the left-wing mainstream media who's basically a Democrat super PAC that is complicit with this. No one is calling them out. Thank God for journalists with you and with Fox, like Peter Juicy just did, calling these people out. They only did this because they got caught. And they're also starting to realize that mothers and fathers and parents around the country just want their children back in school, learning the basics, learning reading, writing, English language skills, interpersonal human relationships. They don't want to learn to hate their peers based upon the color of their skin. This really needs to end. And I think the Biden administration is realizing they are losing the grasp of those parents. And they can't just keep lying because people are waking up. And hopefully the mainstream media will do the same thing. They need to be held accountable.
Stacey Washington, by the way, sorry, I didn't add that towards the end of the intro. But Stacey, are they upset that this happened or are they upset that they got caught?
What they're really upset about, and I love it, I'm here for it, is that parents are paying such close attention that they can no longer just put citations and reference any old radical group in their documents. Because
yeah, and Erin, if Biden really doesn't support critical race theory, shouldn't he call on teachers' unions to stop pushing this garbage, this propaganda on our kids?
I mean, poor Joe Biden, after watching that CNN town hall begrudgingly, he doesn't know what he is saying, quite honestly. And what I think the American people should be asking is who's pulling the strings? Who is the one making the calls? Who is really running the White House? We know it's not Kamala. So yes, you're absolutely right. I think he should go out and say, we are denouncing critical race theory. I think as the parents and the polling comes out more and more, showing what the American people want, he will be forced to do so. The defund the police movement, they're backpedaling. Critical race theory, they're backpedaling. Keeping kids out of school, they're backpedaling. I want to see a full retraction on all of these. And you know who else deserves a full retraction? Jen Psaki, who has no journalism experience whatsoever, by the way, no journalism degree. She is so condescending. She's like, I congratulate you on your research for noticing a footnote. That's a journalist's job, to go through these heavy, heady documents and find these buried footnotes and call people out for their bad behavior. They shouldn't be shunned for doing so. She's the one that should be shunned.
Dripping with sarcasm, as they say, is the way she delivered that one. But let's turn to another topic. After images of Olympic soccer players taking a knee were excluded from official highlight reels and social media channels, the International Olympic Committee said yesterday, get this, that kneeling protests will be shown in the future. This decision comes after players from 5 women's soccer teams took a knee on Wednesday. Let me stay with you, Erin, on this. What are your thoughts on what's going on with the Olympics, Go Woke, Go Broke Olympics, where they're taking knees, and frankly, it's really to the disgust of a good portion of Americans?
Disgust is the perfect word, Eric. You hit the nail on the proverbial head here. This is disgusting. And when America lost in the first round, which was totally unexpected, so many Americans were cheering for that. You know why? Americans support Americans. We are the people that fight our wars and pay our taxes and love our flags. Every one of us that leans right. We have someone in our family that fought for this great nation and may or may not have lost their life. And we see some entitled millennial with purple hair just not looking at the flag or rolling their eyes or kneeling. It disgusts us. And I think that the Olympics are going to have terrible viewership and terrible rating. And they actually did a good thing by excluding the kneeling, because quite frankly, the hardworking Americans don't want to see this vitriol.
You know, Stacey,
60 up. Call now.
I think it's kind of weird because I'm getting along with you and Erin just great. I'm getting along with all the white people in my life just fantastically. So are my kids. We live in a little hamlet where we are in the minority and we don't actually care. We just live here and love it. And so I think in real life, everything's okay. But the media actually portrays America as a tinderbox of racism and white supremacy and blacks who are oppressed and, barely making it by. That's not the truth, but the media is responsible for that. The Democrats are driving that, and the media is their, PR firm.
You're hitting something again on the nail on the proverbial head right here, Stacey. As Erin pointed out, the media exacerbates this because it's good for clicks, it's good for eyeballs, it gets people to watch. But who's really at fault? I'm going to give you a final word, Erin, just about 30 seconds or so. I mean, it feels to me, am I wrong, that the Democrats have been pushing this racial divide for the better part of the last 2 or 3 years? It feels like it's their fault and the media is just backing them up.
Yeah, it's the tail wagging the dog, and it's the Democrats that are pushing this narrative as a way to pander for votes. And I do think it, to agree, is working, because this is all they're putting on mainstream media. Racism, racism, racism. And I think why that number so high is because of that reason. And it's really terrifying for our children who don't see race, that aren't born seeing race, that have friends of all creeds, colors, and races, and just want everyone to coexist in equality.
So important to point out, Erin, you're 100% right. Our kids go to school. When they're little, they go to school, they don't see color until they're taught there's a difference in color, and that's being taught by the critical CRT garbage propaganda we're throwing down their throat. I'm telling, it's starting young, and I just hope there's an end to this before it's too late. I got to leave it right here up against the break. Erin and Stacey, thank you so much. Joining us now, Turning Point USA contributor, lawyer, and Republican strategist Erin Elmore.
So here we are with fact checks, only fascist size. It's dialogue free, 100% real censorship, and it's for you to eat with your oat milk.
What do you guys think of that? What about Erin? What are your thoughts on Stacey's meme?
Well, I like it because all of those checks that you eat so vigorously are calorie free.
Look, the media is supposed to hold truth to power, hold the powerful accountable. It doesn't seem like that's what they're up to. Can we pull up Erin's meme now? Can we do
Yes,
that?
I got an extra good one today.
All
so
right.
This is a custom-made meme for me by the great Emma Mitchum. And you talked earlier about Ben & Jerry's and their anti-Semitism. So I'm Jewish. I'm going to need my own ice cream to eat. So I made my Moishin Shlomos, Shalom Sherbet, ice cream for Jews. So I have my very own ice cream because I would rather eat dog turds than eat Ben & Jerry's afterwards. And by the way, I did like a deep dive on Ben & Jerry's. They put the woe in woke. I mean, if you go look at their website, they have a new flavor called Resist, and it's basically anti-Trump. They are anti-capitalism, which is as rich as their hubby chubby. They are the ultimate capitalists. These are two guys who took one course in ice cream and then sold their company to Unilever for $325 million. So they are basically the ultimate limousine liberals, and I hope their company goes down the toilet.
Wildly liberal. And by the way, you point something out very important, Erin. I'll bring it out to Stacey, for example. So here they are, Ben & Jerry's, very, very liberal, very woke, and they're alienating a very big percentage of the American population, likely world population, with some of their moves. Unilever is a big corporation. They own Hellmann's Mayonnaise, they own a couple of soap companies, and they own Ben & Jerry's. Is it smart? It's got to be bad for business for the parent company to have one of your brands go ahead and alienate your whole clientele, no?
To see this, but I encourage people to do as Erin has done here. We prefer ice cream that without our politics. The politics in ice cream makes it suck. It makes it taste bad, sours it up. We want ice cream for us, which means it has to be sweet and full of sugar, like our good friend from Politics said, which I love your show. I think it's one of my most fun things I get to watch. So let me just say, I like milk. I like oat milk. I like ice cream. I like none of it with politics. So the ladies here are on point.
And we should boycott those mayonnaise anyways. Mayonnaise is disgusting.
I love mayonnaise. Speaking of gross and disgusting, or whatever Stacey said, and sucking. Cleveland Indians, known as the Indians since 1915, 106 years ago, Cleveland's Major League Baseball team will be now called the Guardians. The club announced the name change today, effective at the end of the 2021 season, with a go woke, go broke Cleveland Indians or Guardians style.
Wow, just what sports needs is more partnerships with celebrities. They're going to have literally no one on the right watching them or listening to them or going to their games. They kneel, they pander to celebrities. And who are the Guardians? I grew up a state away from Ohio. I mean, there are steel workers. It's the Rust Belt. Why don't you do something that's quintessential Ohio? What are the Guardians? The Guardians of the Galaxy, the Guardian Angels? They're going to be the Guardian broke and move to another city before you know it. Bye, Cleveland Indians.
Washington Redskins, now the Cleveland Indians. I come from Chicago Blackhawks hockey team. Alex, I'm not sure that's going to last. Stacey, Erin, Alex, thank you all very much. Very lively segment. All right, coming up, why